Hey, what's going on everybody? It's me, Crimson, bringing you guys another Pixel Gun 3D video on the channel, and in today's video we will be comparing two very powerful and similar weapons, the Call of Sirens from the Atlantis season and the Demon Catcher from the anime season. Both of these weapons are travel time snipers and both are very powerful, but we need to find out which one is better, so let's just get right into it, shall we? In this comparison, we will be comparing the weapons based on three different key factors: raw damage, statistics, and overall usefulness in battle. At the end of the comparison, I will give my verdict on which weapon is better based on how they did in these three categories. Of course, the information on these weapons is accurate as of the 17.8.1 version of the game, so if you're watching this from sometime in the future and these weapons are completely different, I'm sorry because I can't see into the damn future. But now that we got all that crap out of the way, let's just get right into the comparison, comparing stats starting in alphabetical order with the Call of Sirens. Here to start things off for us, we have the Call of Sirens. Now looking at the stats, you can see some pretty good stats and average for a sniper weapon. We have a fire rate of 69, funny right? We have a fire rate of 69, which means this weapon fires about as fast as any other sniper would, a capacity of 7, which is pretty good for a sniper rifle, and a mobility of 50, which is, well, bad, but you're not going to be running around with your sniper too much. And it has area damage, charm, and it disables jumps. Now, the area damage and the charm and disables jumps are a bit of a trade-off to the Demon Catcher, which just has really high just raw damage with burning. But with charm and disables jumps, you have the ability to make your opponent pretty much crippled, because when their jumps are disabled, they can't really evade your shots too well. And the charm actually reduces the damage that the enemy gives you by half, which is very powerful. And as you can see in the little video clip that I can put up on screen right now, it makes the anti-champion rifle a 2-shot headshot, with the first headshot leaving 88% health left, and that is with gold division armor, by the way. So yeah, charm is a really powerful thing to have on a weapon, and pair that with the disables jumps and you can pretty much cripple your enemy and make it easy to either switch to a different weapon to finish them off, or easily land a second shot on them and kill them, which makes up for the fact that this weapon is not a one-shot body shot, unlike the Demon Catcher, which is a one-shot body shot with its very powerful burning. Now also, unlike the Demon Catcher, this weapon actually has a significantly sized area damage. When you will see in the gameplay with the Demon Catcher barely has area damage, but in this gameplay you can visibly see that when I hit someone, I can just hit the ground right next to them and the area damage will actually hit them, and that is not present with the Demon Catcher really at all. Even though it looks like it has area damage with its massive super punch explosion, it really doesn't have much of an area damage going on. And overall, this weapon is very powerful indeed, and its effects play a very good role in making it able to compete with the Demon Catcher, as charm and disables jumps are both really good things and kind of annoying to have on a weapon. And overall, I think this weapon is pretty fun to use. It's obviously not a sniper that you want to use at long range situations because of the fact that it has travel time, but if you're just going for a sniper to have fun with, I would definitely recommend this, as this is a very powerful choice, and it was pretty easy to get when it was in the Atlantis season. All you had to do was buy the battle pass and it was right there for you. So yeah, another thing that this has that the Demon Catcher doesn't is this is a legendary weapon, unlike the Demon Catcher, which is mythical. This means that the Call of Sirens will be easier to upgrade if you're a player that's leveling up, as a mythical weapon costs almost twice as much as a legendary weapon to consistently upgrade. So you will spend a lot less gems using this than you would with the Demon Catcher as a player that is leveling up. And overall, I think this weapon is a lot more friendly to players that are leveling up in the game. So yeah, there you have it. Enjoy some more gameplay with the Call of Sirens, and then we will move straight to the Demon Catcher. Oh boy, here it is, guys. It's the Demon Catcher. It's a mythical weapon with a fire rate of 76, which is a little bit faster in the Call of Sirens, a capacity of 8, which is 1 higher and is still a very good capacity, mobility of 55, which is 5 higher in the Call of Sirens, meaning that's a little bit faster to run around with, but you're still going to run around with the melee because 55 mobility is still pretty bad, and it has burning, a very powerful burning. It's more damage to the curse for some reason, and it also has a super punch. Now let's get right into this weapon because this is very powerful and we have a lot to cover. So this weapon is usually a clean one-shot body shot to players that don't have clan armor. And well, even when it's not a clean one-shot body shot, its very powerful burning will finish them off within the next couple of seconds. Because this weapon's burning does around 20% per hit and hits about 3 times, meaning that you can get a good 60% damage on someone just with the burning alone, which makes this weapon almost always one-shot body shot, something that the Call of Sirens can't exactly do. And it has more damage to the curse, which doesn't make very much sense considering this weapon with burning is usually a one-shot body shot anyway, but yeah, if you guys don't know what more damage to the curse does, it basically makes your second hit do more damage. And then you have the super punch. Now if you don't know what super punch is, basically it's an added ability to a weapon that makes a different hit more powerful if you hit a player a certain number of times. With the Demon Catcher, you only need to hit a player once to activate your super punch. You'll know the super punch is ready when your weapon starts glowing with green and red flames, and then when you shoot the weapon again, a big green blast will come out that looks like it has a big area damage, but when I tested the area damage, I was surprised because the Call of Sirens actually has a bigger area damage than the Demon Catcher Super Punch does, which is pretty weird if you ask me. But the Super Punch on this weapon is always a clean one-shot body shot, and if you stack that on top of damage with the curse, I have found that this weapon can almost completely one-shot raid bosses, which makes this weapon one of the most powerful in terms of raw damage in the game, which, well, that kind of says a lot for this weapon. And yes, this weapon is very powerful. It does have a long reload time, however, but you're going to be getting so many kills with this thing that you're not really going to care about how long it takes to reload. Like, this is a very, very powerful weapon, and even though it doesn't have the charm and the disables jumps that the Call of Sirens has, you won't really care that much because this weapon does so much damage that you won't need those abilities anymore. So yeah, this thing is very powerful, but there is a couple of downsides to it that we have to discuss that kind of puts it a little bit behind the Call of Sirens in terms of these upcoming things. Since this doesn't have as big of an area damage as the Call of Sirens, you're not going to be able to hit players just by shooting the ground next to them. You're going to have to go for direct hits as much as possible in order to take players out, which is kind of a disadvantage if you're looking at it in just the overall weapon standpoint. I mean, it takes a little bit more skill, I guess you could say, in that aspect, but overall it kind of makes it a little bit weaker than the Call of Sirens in terms of that ability. And then you have the fact that sometimes, at least that I have found, you use this weapon and sometimes the projectile will clearly hit the player but do no damage, or the projectile will just fly into the 5th dimension for no reason. I think that's a little bit of the projectile bug problem. I don't know, maybe Pixel Gun will fix that eventually and that won't be as much of an issue. But overall, the projectiles with this weapon are kind of weird sometimes, but still, even with those two problems, this is indeed a very powerful weapon, and if you can aim, you will probably get better gameplay with this than the Call of Sirens. As you could see right there, I was testing out the area damage, and you can see even though that guy was right next to the blast, it couldn't hit him. So yeah, this weapon doesn't really have much of an area damage, but with that said, let's go ahead and get to the final evaluation. Okay, so as mentioned in the beginning of the video, both of these weapons are indeed very powerful. However, after coming to a conclusion by getting some gameplay with these weapons, looking at the numbers, and actually discussing how they work and what they do, I have come to a conclusion that the better weapon is indeed the Call of Sirens. Alright, so now before y'all shoot me, all you Demon Catcher fans, shoot me with your Demon Catcher saying how the Demon Catcher is better, let me explain. Hear me out, alright? So the Call of Sirens has Disable's Jump, Charm, and it has a significantly sized area damage, all three things that the Demon Catcher doesn't have. And even though the Call of Sirens isn't a clean one-shot body shot like the Demon Catcher is, it makes up for it by having these abilities. While the Demon Catcher does have very powerful burning, more damage to the curse for some unknown reason, and Super Punch, it doesn't really matter because none of that really contributes to the power of the weapon aside from the burning itself. It may seem like the Demon Catcher already has an advantage by being mythical. I mean, if you look at it on paper, mythical weapons are technically more powerful than legendary weapons. But in the end, this actually turns out to be an advantage for the Call of Sirens instead, because it almost does the exact same damage as the Demon Catcher without the burning, and it just costs less to upgrade anyway. And this is kind of redundant, but if you make the Call of Sirens mythical, it one-shots body like all the time, so it already kind of puts it ahead of the Demon Catcher right there if you make it mythical, because it just one-shots without having to do burning. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, it's my evaluation, take it for what it's worth. By all means, leave your opinion on which one you think is better down in the comments, but that's pretty much all there is to this video. I will see you all in the next video, whenever that may be. Take care, fellas.